grises, pero días de playa. Quiero decirte que tú eres la luz.
All right. So, yay. Yes, everybody give a round of applause. You can hear them. They're all clapping. Great art. So we have the most amazing guest today, Tehani Farr. Thank you so much. I know I've been hounding you and saying, hey, can you be part of my con? And you were so gracious, and I so appreciate you for volunteering some time and being able to talk to you. Tehani's helping me at least be more confident in my Spanish. I need to practice a little bit more. But let me give you a little bit of Tehani before we jump in and ask her some questions. Tehani will be doing some a cover and doing some work while we are asking questions. So here we go. Tehani Farr is a self-taught British Mexican graphic illustrator, concept artist, and cover art. Since a very young age, her very particular upbringing gave her a unique view of the world, which we're going to ask questions about that because I'm also curious. And having a homeschooled education with a traditional self-sustainable household in an isolated country house in the mountains of Mexico. This, combined with her affinity with science fiction books, historical novels, and dark fantastic literature, and a fine imagination, brought her to create and live within her own stories, inventing unique worlds within their individual cosmogony. As a former student of graphic design and professional model since 16, and her entire life of traveling between two continents influenced enormously her perspective of the world. And with this, her art themes basing her creations on the strong aesthetic humanoid anatomy, which are dope if you haven't seen any of her stuff, embodied in a mystical and ancient multicultural aura, and entwined in futuristic, apocalyptic, and interdimensional realities. So I could go on and on, but what I will say is she's worked with numerous brands and known brands, such as World of Warcraft, Puma, Sony Entertainment, Playboy Magazine, Entertainment, television, and bands like Creator, Rata Blanca, Triptychon, Mighty Thor, etc. So today she works for book, cover design, graphic novels, etc. Her artwork you can actually see if you haven't seen her World Tree, Stranger Comics, especially. She has amazing art, and I'm privileged to have those. I just told her that I don't know if I could give those away. So in this con, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tehani. Thank you so much for coming. If you wouldn't mind, just saying hello to the family here. We have some folks that will be, I'll probably talk to you, and if they have questions, they'll probably have some comments in here. They've been very active, so they're awesome. Miss Ebony Keys, and everybody's here. Victor Edizadi, who was just on session 1, says, Vamos hermana, how are you? And then Miss Ebony Keys dijo, absolutely beautiful. So You got some really cool
You.
people here, and very cool. So awesome work, stunning skills. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So here we go. So Tahani, would you
Yes.
like to, jump in and just tell folks what you've been up to, and maybe even give us a glimpse about who you are and your upbringing? You kind of gave a little bit of a taste of what that was, but I'm intrigued, and I'm sure everybody else is as well.
Well, I'm right now here in my studio in LA. I'm going back to Mexico tomorrow. I've been working right now. I've been traveling. I'm just finishing a tour that I've been to from Mexico, England, the south of England, then again London, New York, San Diego, LA, and then here I go back to Mexico in tomorrow. I've been doing conventions, and after this, right now, I go straight back into cover work. I'm working on a deadline right now, a deadline cover work, and this is kind of like secret, but well, it wasn't. No, it was not secret anymore. It was secret for a while. Last week, I'm working for a cover for Assassin's Creed. I've also got booked like I don't know 10, 15 covers from now till March. So there's going to be a lot of really cool work coming out one after another because in March I begin again the events in the US and maybe in Europe also. We are planning a lot of stuff for next year. Have invitations for a lot of places, including Asia. So we might be having something in Japan. I haven't been back in Tokyo for like before COVID, so that's going to be pretty cool planning. And this year has been crazy. Like I just let you know with the tour with all the events. I've only been working events here in the US for about a year and a half now. So since my first event that was WonderCon and then San Diego Comic Con, and not this one but past one, it just went really crazy. I began to work with Stranger Comics, with Sebastian Scout Comics also, and now I'm working with Image and Crashdown. A few other ones that I haven't announced yet, so I want to go like slowly announcing them, but they're going to be really fucking cool. So va a estar súper, súper cabrón, la verdad. Puedo hablar Spanglish, así que está muy chingón. Y estoy bien emocionada de algo que no. Yo hice una portada, yo hice la última portada. I did the last cover for heavy metal also. So I don't know what happened there. Like stuff happened with heavy metal, but the cover was out and there was a whole lot of merchandising also around that. So that was an accomplishment. I pretty like that. Oh my god, there's so much stuff happening at the same time. I don't know how I do it really. I did a tour, like a crazy thing. I did a tour on a sprained ankle that I didn't know it was a fracture. So that was crazy. Right now I've got a boot on. I can't leave the studio. I can't do anything. So it's gonna make me rest for a few months.
Oh, you're awesome. Yeah, when I saw that post, I wrote you and I was like, "Are you okay? Are you gonna be like, are you okay? Do you need anything?" I was just like, "Oh gosh, we need to send you food, whatever we need to keep you not working but resting and feeling well, so you're 100%." So
It was
tell
like
me
the God saying to me, stop traveling, just be
just
home. So I'm
yeah,
doing
just
that.
stay still. Yeah, sometimes we have to listen to the universe. Sometimes they're telling us things that we're not really listening
Yeah.
to. So I'm glad you're able to slow down and invest in yourself, because I know you do a lot of work, and you do it with so much passion. How did you grow up? I'm interested to know, like, what was your childhood? I know you said you were homeschooled. You did some modeling, and you were out in Mexico, in the hills of Mexico, and just a different life. So tell us about what that was like, and how do you like your life now, and where you are.
My upbringing was very very different than most people. So I was born on an off-the-grid house and I grew up between England and Mexico. In both places was off the grid, like in the middle of the woods. In England, we didn't have any. We had well water, we had gardens, orchards, no electricity. So literally, I wasn't sent to school, so it was only me and my family. And instead of television or radio, we didn't have that. So we would read books. My dad used to read books to us since we were like little babies. And I began to read when I was like 4 or something. So at the age of 8, I was already reading novels, like adult novels, 8 and 9. One of my first adult novels that I thought that everyone thought it was a child's book, but it wasn't. It was Watership Down, and I feel that book influenced my view of reality. So it became really dark since I was so little, and I used to read a lot of fairy tales. But I wouldn't read like the ones that every normal child would read. That's like the Disney ones. No, my dad's like a real traditionalist. Like my dad's pretty anti-system, so he was like, you're gonna read the origins of everything, not the cartoons, because I didn't have any access to cartoons. So I would read Hans Christian Andersen, Brothers Grimm, like the origins of them. And they're pretty dark, like all the stories. Scheherazade, like I loved the 1001 Nights of Scheherazade, like loads of stories from the Middle East. I feel that's another reason why the artwork I do has like a very mixed culture. I am mixed culture myself. My dad is British, my mum is Mexican. I grew up in England and Mexico. So, and also like the fairy tales I'd read were not just European fairy tales, because my dad's a massive historian, so he loves anthropology, archaeology, history, all the ancient things. So also he used to read to us like Scheherazade is one of the ones I knew the most. The 1001 Nights. I don't know if people here know, but Sinbad the Sailor is one of the stories from there, one of the most known ones. The genies. So also like he liked a lot of theology. So we would read like ancient scripts of the Bible, of different religions. So all of those things I think really affected the way I saw reality. And being so isolated also, I think it gave like a pretty unique view of self-sufficiency, of art, of literature, of everything.
That's awesome. Yeah. I could see how you have a wraparound view. I feel every time I see your artwork, it seems the realism is very just pronounced. I mean, it's just a really amazing way of, your artistry is like, you could tell that you've been at it for a pretty long time. Tell me what's your favorite.
No,
you haven't.
What I feel I do is I go to the origin. So right now I just finished a Vampirella cover, and it's just out like this week. Everyone can pre-order it, and I saw everyone else's take, and there was one take that I loved. It was from Frank Frazetta. I think he was the one that did like the most outstandingly Vampirella. And as soon as I heard that I was going to do this, I was like, the image that appeared in my mind is, she like the kind of clothes I see her. I don't see her just in a skimpy kind of bikini and that's it. Like she is a queen of darkness. Like she has to have something that's really good quality, like really engramado. I don't know how to say it in English. Like really, like very very high detail. And then I imagine her with a crown and because I like Persia, so I was like, she's like a. Also, I read Anne Rice. So the origins of the vampires in Anne Rice was in Mesopotamia, like ancient. So it was like, she comes from a different planet. and also I want to give her like that's one of her origins, and the other origin is she's a daughter of Lilith, so Lilith is also
Mm-hmm.
like really ancient, and I was like, I can just mix this up. Like she's not human, she's more like a succubus from a different planet. But so that's what was going through my mind when they were like asking me, would you draw her, like all these things. I was like, yeah, of course, but I want to do this. I want to do it into high fashion because I like fashion also, Vogue style fashion. And I don't want to just draw her in a bikini. I want to do like all this concept. I want to make a concept of her. And they were like, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, yeah.
That's exactly what you want to be, right? That they tell you, go ahead and do whatever you want. So
I love
I
that.
would
I'm
feel
so fortunate, yeah, that people trust me. They're like, because
yeah.
to let an artist do whatever they want with characters that are so like emblematic, they're part of a culture. And also with Tarna, when I was asked to do Tarna for heavy metal, I was like, I'm just not gonna draw her in a clothes that's gonna like fall off if she just jumps around. Like I train, I train CrossFit, and I climb. I do a lot of like physical things, and I know that with that you're not going to do anything. Like your boobs are going to be everywhere. So I was like, I'll draw her sexy, but it's something that I know that I could like fight or train with that. So and they were like, okay, do it. So yeah, I'm very happy that they let me do this with the characters.
Yeah, that's exciting to have that creative. You could kind of take control in a sense and kind of empower and create. So you're
Yeah.
self-taught. I
I'm
mean,
so
it's amazing what you do and that you taught yourself. What are some influences? I know you talked about kind of like the literature, but are there any artists that you really mimic or you really learn from?
I feel that my first influences was everyone that would do the like the artwork in the books I would read as a child. Then after that, I moved to Mexico when I was 7, and I was starting to kind of like come in and out of schools. And when I was 13, it was the first time I really went to a school. And the art teacher there, he saw my drawings, and because I didn't really talk much, I used to stutter a lot. I still stutter sometimes. And so I kind of like kept myself to myself, and he would see my drawings and he would be like, oh wow, that reminds me of something. And one day he came in with like books, like 5 books, and they were Luis Royo, a Spanish dark fantasy artist, like erotic art. And he also brought H.R. Giger. Like there were 2 books of H.R. Giger, and I think 3 books of Luis Royo. And I saw that art, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. It was like a click. I don't know if you ever felt that, like when just something just
Mm-hmm.
talks to you, like not
Yeah.
not to your ears, it talks to your soul. And I saw that, and I was like, I just understand that. That is what I just love the idea of it, because when you read fairy tales, all the fairy tales are in other worlds, other dimensions, like all of them. So I've always had the idea, like even Narnia, you
Mm-hmm.
open the wardrobe and you go into another world that's at war, and there's like a villain, and then there's apocalypse. So I've always been like very much in tune. If you read the Bible, I like religion, so in the Bible it's like crazy sacrifices and demons and the devil and these weird angels and Nephilims, and then apocalypse is like all these really strange creatures coming out of the ground and fire everywhere. So you're like, wow, this is like a really cool story. So when I saw Luis Royo and H.R. Giger, I was like, damn, I love this. And I don't know, those were my first influences. And then afterwards, I liked also, it was always very erotic. I've always liked
Mm-hmm.
very sensual, but also good quality.
Yeah.
I've never really been into pinup stuff or like too sexual that looks like bad taste, mal
Hmm.
gusto. No, me gusta el buen gusto en el arte erótico. So I like Guido Crepax also. So it's like very European. Manara, Milo Manara is also my influence. Sorayama, too. Sergio Topi. So all of those are like my
Wow,
first.
that's awesome. I bet you all who are watching and listening didn't know that you were going to get you were going back to school to get Spanish Spanglish lessons today, but it's essential because I think typically when you think of, we kind of look at comic book industry, but when you look at the swath of folks across the globe, we got some crazy talent in other countries and other nations. So, and you got one right in front
No,
of you. They're so awesome. And yeah,
there's
sometimes we don't see
so
them
many.
or hear about them, right? So,
Yeah,
um,
the thing is, when you're here right now, I'm here in LA, and I speak about this a lot when I give conferences and I talk to people. I'm very open about how hard it is when you come from a place where there is no access. Like I'm from Jalapa, Veracruz, so and that is a capital city. So a capital city in the south of Mexico. Now there are loads of people that don't come from capital cities, that come from little towns like everywhere, and they don't have access to hardly even books. So when I was
mm,
growing up, I saw these art books, and for me, being an illustrator was just, I didn't even know it existed. They were like people from other lands, other places, and that was impossible. It was completely impossible. Like the accessible things kind of like was art school, to be like a normal artist, or to be a graphic designer. That's what I did in school. But I want to and I want to bring this back to Mexico, to places like Jalapa, and be able to speak in Spanish about all these, like how to be able to bring your art, because it's also there's a lot of disparity. I speak English. I speak perfect English, so I camouflage here really well, but most people from Mexico, they don't speak English, so that also is like another barrier to stop you from working with all these big businesses that would hire people if they knew that the talent was out there, and the language difficulty also. So that has helped me, and I want to be able to bring that back to Mexico and speak about it, like speak openly about all the Latino Americanos that don't speak
mm.
English but have all this amazing talent.
No, I agree. I think it's a missed opportunity to be more global. I think the pandemic allowed people to see folks globally because you had to kind of like reach out. You couldn't. But I also
Yeah,
think there's still more work to be done with, showcasing even some of the young talent that's out there globally
yeah.
and internationally. So I'm happy to have you here. I know you've been at cons, you've been working like crazy. Um, I know you've been working with Sebastian, who we've had on this con, the previous con, who put me on to you, and he was just singing your praises. But
He's
can you
my
talk a little bit
neighbor.
about? I
5 minutes away
know,
from me, and he's just
yeah,
saved my life so many times when I was here by myself. I didn't know anyone, and he was like, "Hey, you're not alone. I'm here." So I would just go by and hang out at his place.
yeah. He's a
Yeah,
good dude. He's really cool, and he has so much energy for days. He has enough energy for this whole everybody that's in here. You've not seen Sebastian of Stranger Comics? I mean, go to one of his lives on Thursdays. You'll be surprised that he still has more gas in the tank afterward.
and he's got
But
so much imagination. I love his imagination. I love creating
yeah,
stories. That's one of the things that's the thing that has made me do art. So before an
mhm,
artist, I'm a storyteller. I create worlds, and I just do that because it's just something I do. I don't know why. And so the reason why I started to do the drawings is to be able to show people what I was imagining in the stories. So a drawing would be like, oh, this is the character, and then I'd have like all the storyline and all the world building around the character that I was drawing. So that's that's the reason why I started to draw, really.
yeah. I think what you explained about your style fits really well with Sebastian Stranger Comics because it's such a, like you said, it fits kind of like that ethereal kind of science fiction meets with, like the fairies and the powerful characters. And I actually love the fact that he has some really powerful women in those pieces. So it's really cool.
For me, fantasy and sci-fi are simultaneous. That's why I work a lot on dimensions. So when you work on dimensions in other realities that are domained by other physics, like I really like math and physics, so I always like to like study magic and like try to understand it through reality. So for me, magic and dark fantasy is just another way of seeing, like, of understanding the world around us and how we would interpret that. That's another hobby of mine.
So we had some questions here. I'm gonna show it on stage. Let me see if it pulls up. Let's see. Will it pull up? Nope.
I see one. How long is your wait list for cover art?
Yeah, there's a couple questions on here. Do you work with an agent, or is it?
I have people that work with me. I have an agent in Asia, in Japan, and so he gets me shows there, or if I want to go, I've got another agent in Europe, so he gets me stuff there if I'm close. So if I'm there, I'm in England right now, and he's like, okay, there's this show and this show and this show and this show. I don't do that enough because I'm more this side of the world. And here I have a good friend of mine that also he represents Sosomaika, and he helps me out a bit. So I don't have a formal agent right now. I've had proposals from other people, but I don't know. I haven't gone like completely into any artist representation yet.
Okay.
Yeah, just like freelance, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think you may need to look into it now because you're getting more and more busier. Your work is, people are really tapping into, your talent, wanting more and more of your artwork.
I'm a designer, so before everything, I'm a designer, and I've got a very specific vision of what I want my brand to be, the color scheme, the personality traits, everything. I have a very I know that, like, if you go to my shows and you go to my table, if you see my studio, like everything I do has got the same kind of vibe. I want it to be an experience, to be able to go to my table. I call my studios the room within the world, and my tables or booths at events are an extension of my studio, so they are also like an annex to the room within the world. And the thing is, when I've been offered to work with agents, I'm like, are you going to stay true to this? Because there's a whole concept. There's like, and I'm a bit scared that it is not going to happen, that I'm going to have to adapt to theirs. So that's kind of like one of the reasons why I'm like, how can I do this? Yeah. So if you've got any advice.
I mean, no, I think you're doing it right. I think we just had a session to talk about kind of the independent publishing piece. And I think that's a fear for a lot of people, to give up their rights to characters that they love, they've been working on for 10 years plus. And the same thing with your artwork, right? You have a vision of your representation, no matter what it is, your artistry, period. And you want to keep it. You want to keep it as authentic and as pure as possible. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why. And I have had people offer to me, but I've just had so much work that I haven't really got into reading the contracts completely, and like taking out what I don't want, adding in what I do. So I'm not really sure about that yet.
Yeah.
I need to think about it.
Yeah. Someone asked if how long is your wait list for cover art?
I have like a confirmed waiting list for about 3-4 months right now. I've already booked work. And then after that, I have probably like another 6 months of people that are like, we want to work with you. Please just do the artwork anytime. So I've got like another, I don't know, like maybe 15 people that I just have to do the artwork.
Yeah.
They're like open for next year. Yeah, it's a lot. And then people come all the time. So I've got new people and I'm like, oh, can I fit that in? Can I not? So, and I've also got, I'm doing a graphic novel too. So that's about probably another year of work. So I could be, if I wanted to, I could be literally working all the time.
Yeah.
And
So the graphic novel, is it yours, or are you working with some partnering up with someone?
It's not mine. It was the first job I got in the US. So it's with one of the writers for the Twilight Zone and Star Trek. He has a series of his own. So he's a screenwriter and a director. And when he met me a few years ago, he was like, you have to do a graphic novel. I had no idea how to do graphic novels. I hadn't even done comics. I didn't know anything. So I entered in like with zero knowledge. I don't even know what a panel was. I had to like look up all this with an idea of how you structure movies. So I really like storyboards. So I was like, I think a comic's going to be like a storyboard. It's just interpretation of a script, and is my interpretation how I would imagine it as a movie. So that's how I began, and I'm still there.
Wow,
I've got another
awesome.
4 pages. I've already done, I think, about 70 pages. So
wow.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now? Well, I know you pulled something out that you were working on, but what are you working on right now?
This is just you can't really see it, but this is a painting I did a while ago that it's been here, and I wanted to work on something whilst we were talking, and I've been looking at it for such a long time. I did it a few years ago. The under drawing, I didn't like it. I was like, oh my god, it's so horrible. So right now I was like just painting over it and redoing it. So I like that. So this is just a sketch, but underneath here, like right underneath, I've got I'm doing a cover for Assassin's Creed that must be finished in a few days time. And after that, I've got a cyberpunk cover for Brooklyn Gladiator. I've got another cover for another screenwriter, one of the screenwriters that wrote, I think, Supernatural, and he's writing a comic called Kingdom of God. So I'm also doing that one, and I'm doing lots of them. It's a whole list of like 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So I'm trying to like be really calm and not get overwhelmed with those.
So I wanted to open up some questions. So if you wanted to, you can start drawing, or I know we have like a limited time. I know we started a little bit late, but I did want to at least have people know exactly how if they want to purchase some stuff, how they should reach out to you via website, and or even cons that you might be working at once your foot is healthy.
Yeah, of course. So you can reach out to me directly if you want a sketch, or I do sometimes do them. I normally do them at shows, at conventions, but sometimes I do them outside. I have that is true. I forgot about these. So I've got these here. So this is a really cool origin sketch I did, and so it's like Wolverine.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
yeah.
I really like.
Is that X-23? Is that who? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just love that she's inspired by a model that I really like called Melanie Guides, and another model also. So I just like the animalistic kind of look with the I don't know how you say that in English. The lip, like how do you say when you have like a lip, like
cleft lip.
Cleft lip. Yeah, I love them. So I just wanted to make it look like really wild, and that's what I did with her. she's inspired by also a UFC fighter. I really like martial arts, so I did martial arts for quite a long time when I was younger. So that's another of my hobbies. So just like I like training, and I did also this one. This is a
Wow.
Hulk
Yep.
when he goes to a planet, and he's like, I can't remember the name. Hulk Warrior is the name of this one, but so this is another one that I have here. So these are for sale. So if you want to bid on them, if anyone wants to do a bid or something, I have them here right now, and I can send them before I leave.
Okay.
And this
Okay,
one is just what I'm doing. What I'm doing. It's gonna look really cool. So I'm just doing like the base. This is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe is Dark Phoenix. So I'm doing a samurai Dark Phoenix.
I figured Dark Phoenix that might be up your alley. That's a really cool character. So as Tehani said, she has these books for sale as well if you wanted to. So what I did tell her is that we could possibly get your information. So if you want to do a claim on this right now in the chat, let us know. In the meantime, we will be asking questions of the audience. Anybody who has any questions for Tehani. But if you want any of these books, put it in the chat, because then we will follow up with you and send your information to Tehani as far as like
how much do you consider to start with, like if they're for bid or for sale, for how much do you
yeah, you know what, I'm gonna ask. Well, those are priceless, to be honest with you. Those look really cool because they're one of a kind. So I mean, it's up to, I would say, AQ, what would you say you would start the bid on this, or at least auction off? What would it be? I'm talking to Adrian, who's a friend of mine who does cover art as well. He's an artist as well. That's a really cool cover. So almost vintage. What are your thoughts on these? The Hulk. I love that origin one.
I know, right?
I
want to do more characters like that, like not just really pretty characters. So I just like the idea of making them just like, I like a post-apocalyptic things. My favorite genre is post-apocalyptic Western. Oh yeah, I've got a really cool cover that's coming up, and they said you could do it as a post-apocalyptic Western, and it's called Calaguerra. So it's about immigrants that pass over from Mexico over the Rio, over like a really polluted river, and then they get like superpowers. But it's in between. So I imagine in the wastelanders area between US and Mexico. So very Tarantino kind of style, and Tarantino meets post-apocalyptic Western meets Marvel. So that's kind of like what I'm going to be doing in this cover, and very Dawn of the what's it called? The one of Tarantino with the vampires. Which one is that one? And Salma Hayek.
Oh, see.
Dawn of something. No, Dawn of the Dead. No. From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn, yes. One of my favorite ones.
So that's going to be the vibe, with like skulls in the background and like a looming terror. Kind of like also Stephen King-ish, because I'm like a super Stephen King fan.
That's right.
That's one that's going to be really cool, and it's coming up very soon.
Okay. So my buddy, who's again, he's also an artist as well, he said minimum $125 that your covers for those. So yeah. Somebody says starting bid at 85. I would say probably, someone said $100 for a one-on-one. So it's up to you. Someone said they paid $200 for a headshot sketch, and these are full covers. I agree. They typically go for like 200.
I normally start, I think, from 200 to 150, the headshots. So yeah. But whatever. Well, these are your crowds, so whatever everyone's with. I
Yeah,
know that like, every place is different. So I know that in
yeah.
New York or in Santiago is like a different place, and I know other places. Also in Mexico is going to be different places. So
Mhm.
that's why I ask you, like, whatever you're comfortable with, of course.
Sure. So why don't we say let's start it off at 150 and go from there. Um, Adrian said I sold a full color edge to edge for $225. So that's kind of where we are. But Tahani, you know, we'll post that. We'll say to folks we want to start at 150 and then go from there on the chat if people are interested. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So if you're interested, go ahead in the chat. In the meantime, also, if you have any questions, go ahead into the Q&A post. Don't be shy. We can pull you on stage and you can ask your question. We probably have room for maybe one or two questions.
Dusk till dawn. How is that in Spanish? Este, del crepúsculo al amanecer. That one. Yeah, I
Okay.
really like that movie. So yeah, I like to do. I really like to do stories that matter, stories that have representation, real representation. Like, sometimes I feel that some people just force stuff on, and they just try to put characters just inside stories. Like, oh, I need a Mexican there. I'm gonna add a Mexican. I like stories told like authentically,
Yeah.
from people that have had experiences or also that have heard. So I have half of my family is from Mexico. I've got loads of family in Mexico, like crazy amount, and I do have family that have crossed over to the US, and they stayed here and they cannot come back. I have exes that I have an ex-boyfriend when I was really young, and his family like crossed over the deserts, and all the stories I've heard first-handed of the boyeros, the people that cross people over and just are abandoned, and then the immigration in the on the
Coyotes.
border. They are horrors.
Hmm.
They're literal horror stories. So
Yeah.
to tell these versions through comics authentically, and also like make them into superheroes, to be able to claim back like all that horror that happened to the people, I think it's eye-opening, and
Yeah.
I feel very, very grateful to be able to be part of these experiences.
Awesome. I need more time with you. I really do. I think you are not just an amazing talent, but your take on a lot of me personally. You, you actually, when I first saw your art, it reminded me of when I first saw Julie Bell. I'm not sure if you know who she is, but I haven't seen any of her work lately. So I was kind of looking at, it's very realistic, but there's what you described is there's a mysticism to it, very realistic. Her name is Julie Bell. If you ever want to look her up,
Yeah,
but
I know
you
her.
haven't seen
Yeah,
anything. Yeah. And
yeah. Julie
you're
Bell,
like the
also
first.
Olivia.
Yep. Yep. So
Olivia, I think I love her work.
yeah.
Sorry.
So I saw your artwork and I completely fell in love with it. And you know, if I hit the lottery, I definitely will get an original piece from you for sure, because I need like a full piece. I think your artwork is on par with the best of them. So great job. I appreciate you. Seriously.
My
Yeah.
I really admire. There's artists in the industry now that I really admire. Julie Bell is one. Olivia is another. Alex Voss. I really love like
Yeah.
all the idea of Alex Voss. Simon Bisley, Luis Royo. There's so many artists, and I feel that like in fantasy, in dark fantasy, and realistic fantasy, it's very necessary to have more female artists that are not afraid to be out there to make what I like making art that you see my work and you don't think that I'm a woman or a woman that is my age. Like you see this artwork
Hmm.
and it's like so strong, and because I really like warriors. I like real stories. I like dark things, because dark stories are real stories. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. I want to bring everything out here, so little girls, little boys can see this kind of thing. Little girls are like, I don't only have to draw cats and like anime and like sweet things. I can be a fierce warrior and I can own this. And that's another one of my messages I want to bring out there to inspire more people just to be themselves.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that people will if they haven't seen your work, they need to go see it. Go on Tehani's website. Please support her. I mean, I know she's busy, but as you can tell, we've been talking about authenticity and being real and people who really love what they do. She is one of those folks. So I can't wait to see you at a con in person. And hopefully it'll be fairly soon. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
It might be at LACon. Maybe I'll be at LACon. We're still seeing about invite, but I might be. So if anybody's at LACon, if I'm there or not, there's going to be a launching of the book I was just talking about called Galaguerra. So I'm invited to give a panel on Hispanics and Mexicanos in comics. So I really hope I am going to be there, but if not, like, everyone go to the show, and if I don't see you there at LA Comic Con, I'll probably see you at WonderCon or next San Diego Comic Con.
Okay, I was hoping you would say Las Vegas Con, but amazing con.
Maybe when is that? It's like in March. When is the Amazing Con?
It's usually in April. Typically in April.
Yeah, so there is a possibility. There is a possibility. I just need to organize it enough. But yeah, that is one of the ones in the list also.
Awesome.
Well, it's two, but it's just like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're juggling a lot. I could imagine that it's really hard to pick and choose which cons to go to. So, well, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. Gracias por todo. This has been the most amazing, I've been, really looking forward to us connecting and really showcasing who you are, that your work represents all of us Latinos really well in the space. And you are such a great person to do a lot of representation. So thank you so much for taking this opportunity and time to kind of connect with these folks. And hopefully I'll be posting this up, so there'll be more people that hopefully will connect with the content, and hopefully people will go to your website and buy your stuff, sell you out, because you deserve it. And I'm so happy for you and so proud as a fellow Latino to call you my sister.
Yeah, que viven los Latinos. Yeah.
Latinos, yes.
We've got such a rich culture, such a beautiful, ancestral, ancient culture, and I think it has to be out there. Like, more, we're not just Aztecs. There's loads more than just Aztecs. So Olmecas, Mayas. There's loads of things, really cool stories to be told authentically, and I can't wait to share more with everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate every one of you, and if you want to connect with me directly at any point, you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, on TikTok, email if you want to also. So I just really muchas gracias por estar aquí, en verdad.
Gracias por todo. And she has a booth as well, a virtual booth. So it has all that information on there. It has all that content. So please reach out to her. I know that she would absolutely love that. So, hermana, gracias por todo. And I wish you well, okay?
Gracias a ustedes. Que estén muy bien y que compren mucho de los demás. Que estén muy bien. Have an awesome con with everyone else.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.